Hello, dreaming of Diamond and friends who will join us. If you're not on yet, you'll join us soon. We have the absolutely beautiful Helen McFadden, double diamond. This is the first time anybody said it. No, I know it's not. So, um, it's the first time I've introduced her that way. So,
Aw.
anyway, she is my dear friend. She trained me in my leadership excellence, which feels like a long time ago, but not really. We can't wait to hear from you, my friend. Love you.
Well, thank you. It's always fun doing a call in December because I feel like it's almost like the summer months where you just have to like get everybody to pay attention for just a few minutes about their plexus business because it's like so much going on. So I thought I would just talk tonight. I just share kind of my brief story and then give you maybe just some tips on how to have a organized December. And then my favorite topic after being in network marketing for like pretty much 3 decades is I love to talk about mindset and vision and how you talk to yourself because that's a reflection of your thoughts. It all starts here. And I just feel like, there's people who are like super good on training with like the nuts and bolts of the business and scripts and IPAs and all that. And it's not that I don't mind talking about that. I just feel like it always just goes back to mindset. So I'm really going to spend the majority of the time tonight sharing why I feel it's so critical to your success. But thank you for that sweet introduction. And I know it does feel like just a blink ago, it was like Jewels of Excellence, and now you're a diamond, and so cool. So I joined Mary Kay. I'll just start like when I was like, when I was 10. No, I'm just kidding. It was 1993. I was not 10 in 1993. I joined Mary Kay Cosmetics, and that was kind of like my first introduction to network marketing. I had just kept going to college, trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I'm not a good college person. I need to have a job and learn and grow and do and experience. I just couldn't sit in a classroom anymore. It would have been 7 years of changing my major and not being able to figure it out. So I didn't really know what network marketing was, but the whole entrepreneurship about it and duplication and building a team, it just made sense to me. It's like, if I could just build a team and actually have residual income someday, like who wouldn't want to make money while they're sleeping? And so, I just fell in love with the industry. But of course, this is a long time ago before social media, and this was a party-driven business, and it was very cumbersome. But I did do it for 16 years. I had 2 pink Cadillacs, 8 company cars. So on paper, I was successful. I was in the top 2% of the company, but I never made 6 figures, not even close. I had so many expenses. Even if I did, I wouldn't have been able to, claim it on my taxes. I remember one year, I think my highest year, I made 80 something thousand. And after everything on my taxes, it was like 40,000 because we had a training center and suits and all the things. And I am eternally grateful for my experience in Mary Kay. I would never badmouth anything about that company other than Plexus is better. No, but I just learned so much, and I had no idea at that time that God was actually preparing me with all my training, because I took that very seriously. I went to 4 big events every year for 16 years. I only missed one once because I had a 2-week-old son. My first child was born, and we had a big seminar here in Dallas. I wasn't living in Dallas at the time, but I just couldn't bring my, newborn to a room of 12,000 women. And that was my only ever thing I missed. And so I heard from John Maxwell and all the big names, we hear about. I was trained, I read books. I became a student of network marketing, but I also really learned how to become a leader. But I got very, very burnt out. My last few years, Sephora Ulta came to town. There was just a lot of drama on my team, and it just didn't feel right anymore. It wasn't fun for me. I felt like it was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, but I didn't give up. I mean, I was not happy, but for years and years, I kept doing it because I kept thinking, well, what else would I do? I never finished college. Well, around that time, my dad had passed away from Alzheimer's disease, and I had been his part-time caregiver. Well, my mom had it too. And so I felt like, I was in my early 40s, and I just thought, I just want to be my mom's caregiver. I'm going to make a career change. Ultimately, when she's no longer with me, I need a plan B for someday doing something different. So I'm going to just take this opportunity to work part-time jobs while I was taking care of my mom. I was a mom, wife, all the things. But that's what we do in our early 40s a lot. Well, my mom had me when she was 40. So she was actually like an older mom. So I kind of went through it. What a lot of my friends are going through now in their 50s, I went through in my 40s with aging parents and all the things. So about 3 years then, I was out of Mary Kay, and I just wasn't actively looking for a plan B because I was still taking care of her. But I was a bookkeeper, which Helen McFadden bookkeeping should never be the same sentence, because it's like my boss was like, "Why do you want this job?" He could tell right away, but I survived. But I did. I missed makeup, so I worked at Merle Norman. I worked at Ann Taylor Loft. I was a Weight Watcher leader. I had one meeting. This at the time I lived in Reno, Nevada. And I had one meeting a week, and I fell in love with helping people get healthy and lose weight. And I had struggled with my weight all my life. I have two skinny sisters. I don't know if any of you all have one, but two is really bad. And so I identified with my members. I loved being a Weight Watcher leader. And I'm going to tell you, when you weigh people, women especially, I mean, really women, I heard every cuss word on the scale. People would take off their rings, their clothes. I'm like, whoa, 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 not everything. But what happened in that 3 years, God gave me this window to really show me how many people identified their identity was based on a number on a scale, which we all know it's not, and it shouldn't be. But really, just how many women and people struggled with optimal health, with really like being healthy, like having a good relationship with food, the trifecta of supplementation, exercise, and what we're putting in our bodies. And I just, this whole world opened up to me, but I thought I want to do something like this for a living, but I have no idea what it would be, because I'm never going to do network marketing again. I'm not going back to school. So God like set me up, whoever prays with caveats, right? It's like, just help me find something. Well, age 55, I can say my saying is, we plan, God laughs, and you never, ever, ever say never, because everything I ever say I would never do, I'm doing to this day. And so it was just a super divine day. I was on a little social media site called Facebook. I barely had any, I was barely on it. I didn't have a lot of Facebook friends, but Sheila Medina's name came through my screen. We were not even Facebook friends, but I'd met her through Mary Kay, and she was always in Mississippi. I was always in Nevada, but we were under the same, what would be the equivalent of a diamond team. So we would see each other at big events, and I always liked her. We roomed together a few times, but we lost touch. So I had heard through the grapevine that she got out of Mary Kay. So I was just curious when somebody liked her picture. Back then, Facebook said Sheila Medina liked, or so-and-so liked Sheila Medina's picture. And I went to go stalk her wall. And I know I'm not the only one who has ever done something like that. And so I go to her wall, and I see quickly that she was in this evening gown with her husband, and they just picked up a Plexus Lexus in New Orleans. And there was like all these jewels with this company called Plexus. And I was like, what the heck is Plexus? I needed a new car, and I just was intrigued, and I figured it's got to be network marketing, because who else gives out? Well, her husband had just gotten him a Rolex through Plexus and a car, and I thought, she's back in network marketing. Well, so here's what's really funny. This is probably the funniest part of my story when I talk about my early years in Plexus and learning about it. Was we had this long conversation. I reached out to her, hey, remember me? We talked. And she told me all about it, how she kicked her diet soda habit, how Ronnie Cuevas, the first diamond, her good friend's husband, Patty's, had gotten off 4 insulin shots a day, no longer needed back surgery, lost 48 pounds in 6 months, just drinking this pink drink. And Sheila had a lot of credibility. And part of my story I like to share is like, listen for these clues, because I always say credibility matters. Like if Sheila didn't have having a conversation with her over the phone, I did buy a welcome pack, never trying the pink drink, but I did that because I trusted her. So it's really, really important, if you've been in a lot of network marketing companies, or you just maybe are struggling in that area, just know that, that's why it's so important to be a walking, talking billboard, and you just stay consistent. Because I felt like I had a lot of credibility when I started, but there were still people who laughed at me and mocked me. My second person, she gave the second and third day of Slim to her mom, and she said, Helen's selling a pink drink that makes you lose weight. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. My third person I shared it with, she returned her bag of Slim. Well, the moral of the story is, like, because she said she didn't lose any weight in Disneyland. I was like, oh, okay, I'm sure that's, I'm sorry my Slim didn't help you while you were eating, Disneyland food. Anyways, but she became an emerald. the gal who gave her slim weight her mom, she became a ruby on my team, and her mom became a silver. Because I'm in my mind, I was like, sooner or later, they're all going to come around, because I learned in my years in Mary Kay the importance of belief. And when you make a decision and you draw your line in the sand, how important it is that you show up differently. Because see, people just don't know what they're saying no to. Like, they didn't know what I knew already. And I really didn't know. No, I trusted Sheila, but I trusted her enough. And I made a decision. If I'm doing network marketing again, I am all in. I'm not a flaky person. I'm like, I made a decision and I'm going to go to the top. And there's something that just very magical that happens when you have that conviction about it. So when I tell my story, listen for clues on things that maybe my hope and prayer always when I'm on these calls is that I say something tonight that can just be an aha for you, maybe a little tweak in your thinking and your words and your thoughts, because really, there is no secret to any of this. We haven't, I mean, when I joined, we didn't have a virtual office like we have now with videos and endless Monday motivation, all the things that we have. And somehow we managed to grow 16,000% in the first 2-3 years that I was in Plexus. So it doesn't always matter like all the things that are available to you. It's your belief and your passion and how you show up. This is a attraction marketing business. And so we have to be always aware and cognizant of how we are showing up, because people are watching. There's so much competition. There's, a million supplements on the market. There's people who sell Plexus that you might be competing with on Facebook. So why would they choose you to join as a VIP and try the triplex or the reset or whatever? So when I had that long conversation with Sheila, and I had no reason to not believe her, I did join with just a pit in my stomach. And I called Sonia Dudley, my best friend, and said, who had been in a lot of network marketing companies since Mary Kay. We met, even though she was in Tennessee. Long story, I used to live there for 2 years, and that's how we met. And we stayed in touch and we're besties. And I didn't really give her a choice. I just said, you're doing this with me and we're going to go to the top. So if you don't have a power partner, I would really pray for one, because it really makes such a difference. Sometimes we can feel alone in this business. We work off our phones. We're working all over the place, but it's really nice to have that accountability partner. So, but choose wisely. And that's why I say pray for one, the right one, because it just made all the difference for me. But, my success was fast. And that's another thing I always try to share with people. Please don't ever compare my story, Sadie's story, anybody you hear, because typically, and we're mostly women, I know there's some men on this call, but we're the worst, right? I mean, whenever we hear something like, and we compare, we're always going to come up short. We're going to compare their strengths with our weaknesses, and we all have strengths. We all have things that we bring to the table. And I just feel like Plexus is such a gift. And if you're on this call tonight, investing time out of your evening to hear me and support Sadie and be part of this team, then you have something, there's a reason that you're in Plexus. And I just felt like, for me, when I got that window of time where I saw how much people struggle, and when I say tears and customers of the scale, like it was on the regular, it's a real thing that people struggle with their health. And I felt like this is such a gift. If I can offer products that are this effective, and they're still effective, y'all. This is 10 years ago, but they are more effective than ever. We have, more and more products in our line that are helping people truly in the most meaningful way. There's nothing more important than your health. If you don't have it, then you don't have a quality of life. You don't have it. So don't ever forget that what we're offering is a blessing and it's a gift. We don't have to do Plexus. I always say we get to do Plexus. And when you have a mindset like that and you don't care, like my success, like y'all, like I'm a double diamond. There's not one person in my family that takes our products. I don't have one person in not that my family's that big, but it's, I have 2 sisters, a brother, lots of nieces and nephews, in-laws, all that. Not one of them. I never, ever cared what anybody thought, said, did, because what did I say in the beginning? I made a decision. I went on a gut. I was praying for an opportunity and this one came on my lap. It felt right. And if you know you're in this business for a reason, you should never, ever care that people don't, we all hear it. They don't pay your bills. They don't, it doesn't matter. And I can't, there's so many blessings in longevity when you dig in and you're committed, because people, they come around, they might have come back around, back around. I've had somebody join my team like 4 times. It's like, are you really, really, really ready? But that's what's, another thing too is health is tricky. People can think they're ready and they just stop taking the products after a few months. It's like, you didn't even give it time. You didn't even try, but you can't get caught up in, you can't control other people. I knew going in after having 16 years of network marketing experience, the only person or thing that I can control is me. And that's why I love talking about personal growth and how you think and how you talk. And I always say, like, listen to like your leaders. Is Sadie talking like when your kids say something bad about themselves, you're like, oh my gosh, don't talk like that about yourself, or don't ever say that. But we do all the time. And so what I wanted to ask you is, how are you talking about December? Are you saying, oh, it's so busy, oh, it's so crazy? Those are really dangerous words. Crazy, busy, it's like nuts. I've got a gift wrap, I got a gift shop, I've got parties. And you know what? Like, we just have to stop the glorification of busy. Like, when people tell me they're busy, I'm like, oh, how special are you? Like, who isn't busy, right? And so what I really, what's the date today? We're only like the 5th. We're like 5 days in. So it's, still the beginning of the month. But one of the most valuable things that you can do is, like, obviously you're the entrepreneur, you are in charge. What can you control is you and your time and your schedule and your decision making and your choices. So if you haven't yet already, really looked at your month at a glance, like, when are you going to do Plexus and reach out to your customers and contact your team and just do all the things that we us ambassadors do? And you've got to have that all fit in. Like, you could have a whole day where you just get all your gift wrapping done or your cards done. It doesn't have to be this I'm so busy kind of month. It can be like compartmentalized to the point where you feel like, oh my gosh, I got this, I can do this. So please don't use any of that stuff as an excuse as to why you're just going to, like, see how December goes. Everybody else is so busy. Well, you know what? This is the month that you want to plant the seeds. You might not get the sale right away. Again, we can never control what anybody's going to do or say or, respond. But what we can control is our effort. And so if you have a goal to earn the North Face jacket, which I hope all of you do, then you absolutely can. It might not all happen this week or right before Christmas, but you have the whole month. And so work with Sadie. If she doesn't know your goal or your direct upline, your direct, who recruited you, please let them know what your plans are and your goals are for December so they can work with you. If you want to take most of the month off, that you have that right. But if you have a goal to earn the jacket, then you can still take a lot of time off, but you got to figure out a way that you're going to work smart and not, just be all over the place. It's so important. I think what happens is when we really get going in our business is that we feel like it's just so unattainable. It's like out here for the chosen few if things don't go exactly the way that we expect them to go. But I can promise you, success is a sum of daily habits, and it all has to do with your organization and how you treat this and and I'm going to go back to what you're saying to yourself and your mindset. So I just, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on, like, what are the IPAs and all that kind of, because that's the kind of stuff you can find. And I'm sure you've all learned if you've been to any Plexus events, or it's all available to your virtual office. So what I want to share with you is the importance of, how you're talking to yourself about December, setting your goals for the new year, planting the seeds, and just every single day, just being able to do just a little bit, whether it's for yourself, which I always say that's the most important IPA, or touching base with your diamond, your upline, and then of course, organizing all your time. So, okay. So what I wanted to say about, there was something else about this month. Oh, if y'all haven't registered for Super Saturday yet, that's like non-negotiable. There's certain non-negotiables in this business, and you absolutely want to. I'm so excited I get to actually be a speaker for Super Saturday. So I'll be flying out to Scottsdale here soon, and the lineup it's going to be amazing. You guys will have some not dress rehearsals coming up on Zooms, and it's really cool what they have in store for all of us. So get excited about that. I wanted to share a little bit about a story that I have just going on with my team, like right now, as Sadie alluded to in the beginning. I had a gal, and it just has to do a lot with what I want to talk to you about with, mindset and how we talk about our business. Because, and the reason, let me just kind of go back to that, is like your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions, and your actions become your habits, and your habits are your destiny. Your habits are what the outcome is. And so I'm so passionate about that, because the people that are moving up in this business don't have any time for negativity, and they have big vision. They've shared that vision. Does your family know what you want from Plexus? Does your upline know? Does your best friend know? Does your social media audience know? How many people do we know that really have big goals and are going after their dreams? I mean, the only people I know that are in Plexus or network marketing. And there's like something so exciting to be, that example for other people and live out loud and just really unabashedly go after your vision and your goals and your dreams. So if you're not talking about that on a regular basis, please tweak that about yourself. I promise you, it'll change everything. Your feet hit the floor. You say, I don't have to do Plexus. I get to do Plexus today. The whole shebang. And read that book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. People always ask me all the time, what's your favorite book? And that would be that, because everything goes back to that. And I did a YouTube series with Sonia Dudley on that years back. And I still, to this day, have people come up to me at Plexus events and tell me that book changed everything for them. They, became a jewel, all the things. They realized it's not just even about Plexus. It's about how you are with your children, your friends, your parents, everything. It's such a valuable book. But I wanted to share a little bit about a team member that I have who just, she finished her month of October. She missed her senior Ruby points. So she had ranked up to senior Ruby a few months back. And she's Hispanic. And, when I tell this story, what I want you all to know is, obviously it's a different culture and they work a little bit differently than us, and that they have large families and they have people that really like jump on and support, each other. And I don't want to say it's easier, because everything has their challenges. Their retention's been a little like challenging, but it's a little bit different how they work. So I'm just going to kind of preface that, because again, I never want to ever tell the story and you're going, well, I can't do that, or I did that and it didn't work. I mean, be careful what you're thinking, right? We all have a filter how we process information, and just make sure that you are just like looking at what's possible for you in the story, because it's possible for anybody. But she told me that she had a new level 1 that wanted to fast start senior gold, and she joined like the last week of the month, and she's had 2 people before fast start senior gold in the last week. And it's fascinating like how they work, because they really like work, like they're like at their computers, they're on the phone. I mean, they all work together. They have this community and this team camaraderie, and it's just awesome to watch. And anyways, so that particular person ended up fast starting senior Ruby. I've never had a fast start senior Ruby ever in my 10 years. I have never seen one. And now she was on her team before. When I was living in Nevada, I'm in Dallas now, but I would fly to Vegas a lot and work with her and her team. And this gal, Olga, I think she reached gold. And she was in Plexus for about a year and a half, and then she quit. And so this is the one who came back and did Fast Start Ruby. But what they do, and because so many people are asking me, and because I talked to her about it, it's like, Erica, you gotta tell me like what's going on. I mean, people are just wanting half of your success, because she did go Emerald last month, but she finished with way over 2,000 points. Like, she's closer to Sapphire than she is Emerald. And so she said that they were highly motivated for the November cash. And that is definitely something that Hispanic teams I've noticed are very cash motivated, because I'll ask them, because I don't work with them like I work with a lot of my teams, because a lot of them don't speak English. And my Spanish is, way too awful to even try to work with them. And so I, send them a lot of prizes and like supplies, like just different like things that I can help out at their events. And so they're always wanting cash. And so that they were like all motivated to earn the, the highest, the $800 cash. And so what they do though, mainly, and this is just goes back to nothing new, nothing surprising, because it's really ultimately how I built my diamond business, is they hold in-person events. They hold in-home events and they hold bigger events, and they hold them very, very regularly. Like that is they do not build on social media. I'm not saying they don't ever post on social media, but that is not their primary way, which I feel like it's become the primary way. And I have a lot of mixed feelings about that, because I feel like social media is a great tool. Like it's a way to get the word out, but it's also like, it's the lazy way, because you're never gonna like build a diamond team just doing that. Like when Sonia and I were new and everyone was asking Sheila, what are Helen and Sonia doing? Because we were the first silver star earners, and we went, emerald in like 6 months. And she goes, they are doing a little bit of everything. And this was before Zoom. Like we were doing 3-way calls, in-home events. We would go into schools, churches, especially Sonia in her town. But, we were doing like Starbucks meetings. I started holding regular events in my town in Reno. We went to the Lexus dealership. I was constantly looking for a way, because, and I talked to Alec Clark about this more than once, especially when I was new and since then. But it's like, Alec, what would you say about the social media? And of course, we all love it. It works to a degree. But he said, Helen, this will always be an eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly business. And we can ever forget that. We can't, nothing will ever take the place. Like, just think if I was in, like, we're all on a screen right now, and you guys can feel my passion. You can, I'm sure, I'm love Plexus. I'm so grateful. I love to train. I love to talk all this. Imagine if we were in Sadie's living room right now, all of us together, how different it would be. And we've all been to a Plexus event where we've heard the testimonies in person, or we've had people share about the opportunity in person, and we get it, like, it feels different. And so that is what they have going for them, that I feel like there's no reason we can't get back to. I know the world has changed. I know people aren't showing up in droves like they used to opportunity events. But did you notice, I think, was it Sadie, the call that we were on, the diamond call, the company is going to start doing opportunity events again. Like they realize how much it's not hurt us, but the disconnect to the field and corporate, which has always made Plexus so special and very successful, because they listen to us and they've gotten to know the field, and they use the field in so much of their decision making and training videos and all that stuff. And so they just they realize that a lot has been lost in that. And so I just really have been thinking about, like, what Erica did. And now this didn't just happen. I know it's easy to say this happened in 1 month, but she's been with me for 4.5 years. She went, her highest rank has, before she ranked senior ruby a few months back, about 2.5 years ago, she ranked to ruby. And when Mexico opened and she had family down there, she was using, she had Vegas team and that, but she lost it all when COVID happened. Our Mexico launch didn't go the way we thought it would because COVID happened. And I watched her never, in 4.5 years that I've known her, ever say one negative thing. I mean, she went from 500 points down to, maybe there was months and months and months she was at 100 and something points. Every time I would talk to her, it's okay, Helen, we're working. It's okay, we got this. I haven't given up. I'm never giving up. And I'm not exaggerating. I've talked to her, whether it's on WhatsApp chat, Zoom. She lost her rock star like 1.5 years ago. The 3 of us were always working together. She just decided to drop off the face of the earth. Like, don't think in 10 years, like what maybe has happened to you. And, think multiple times when I've built 2 diamond teams, how many people have left my team, my lost, friendships, like all the worst of the worst things that can happen. It's just part of the business. But what's your attitude? How do you bounce back? How do you look at the constant ability to make lemonade out of lemons will serve you so well in this business. And I've watched her now, the most happy, positive person. She goes to corporate a lot. She earned the Silver Star trip a few months back with 2 of her team members. And she went to Gold School. She met her people at Gold School. Like, she's just does everything the company tells her to do. She's hosted events with the company. And so this explosion of growth is a series of months and months and months of planting seeds. And that's what I talked about on my team page. Like, her harvest is here.
Mhm.
Nothing ever happens that quick. When it happened quick for Sonia and I in the beginning, well, we brought in a lot to the business by way of experience and a network of people that trusted us, that were curious. So just know, everybody has their own story, everybody has their journey, but what can we control is our attitude and our effort, our attitude and our effort, our attitude and our effort, over and over and over again. And is it worth it? Yes, I just made a post tonight. I was like literally in tears. Like, I just spent like all this money. I picked all these angels off a tree. I had so much fun going to TJ Maxx, and all the places buying stuff for people. I'm like barely working this month. I have so many fun things planned. And I just think, is it worth it? Is it worth it to have all this stuff happen? Those first 3 people that were poo-pooed on my dream with my first week of Plexus that I could have let stop me.
Mm.
And now we have tens of thousands. Do you guys know, like, I'm not the top earner on my team. I mean, I got like so many diamonds that make like over $100,000 a month because I said yes. Now, they might have joined Plexus through someone else eventually, but my yes ripple affected to them being my levels 10, 11, 12, 13. And of course, I have some closer levels too that are just crazy successful. But is it worth it? I mean, think of the other people that you impact when you're bold and you make a decision and you don't give up and you just listen to say and you just, own your strengths and just go for it. Like, I always, when people leave and they've shared their dreams with me or they share their health goals and they don't give it a fair shot, I think, what are you going to go do?
Mm.
Like, what's your solution? Like, I mean, there's so many fad diets out there maybe that get their attention. I don't know. Or another shiny object for a network marketing company that's ground floor or whatever. I don't know. But I just know that, we got to bloom where we're planted. This is the best company, y'all. Jean being our CEO there's so many great things in store. And I know we hear that a lot, but I just really feel like we've hit our stride in many ways. The communication with the diamonds, like, don't you feel that, Sadie? Like, just where we're headed and stuff, and our product line over the next 18 months. I don't know all the details, but I did get to know Craig Collier and Sonia and Michelle, and I did a tour in Maine a couple months ago, and we spent 4 days with him. And he came from another company that they went from like 100 million to 500 million the 4 years he was there, and he is brilliant, and he is like locked in with what we need, and just the changes that are coming and stuff. He's a big part of that, I believe. So anyways, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I wanted to share that story about Erica just because I'm so passionate about in home, and I know it, or events in person. I know it takes that little bit of extra effort, but that's where the magic is when you're willing to do the and then some. I love social media, but it's far and few between that we can meet somebody online, develop a strong enough relationship with them virtually that, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you are much more likely to be able to build leaders when you are, eyeball to eyeball. They feel your heart, you work with them. I travel a lot. Part of my business, has been traveling to my jewels, working with them, holding events, and it served me so well. I have great retention with my leaders, loyalty. When you make people feel good, you make them feel special, they're very less likely to leave you. And you do that when you invest time with them. Most people want time. They don't necessarily care about a ring, a bracelet, a hat, a t-shirt. They want your time. And so that's one thing I learned in Mary Kay that I brought to Plexus was I was willing to travel. I was willing to go to the people. And I realized when, if you have younger kids, it's not as, possible to do it often. but it's still possible. How bad do you want it? And so just wanted to share that on my heart tonight. Have I gone way over? Sorry.
I'm gonna, oh wait. First of all, is she not the best? Like, get out of town. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording in case somebody has a private question. Hang on.